Your brain isn't the loyal servant you think it is. It's a lazy contractor, hardwired to take the easiest shortcut, not the smartest path. Right now, it's making you misjudge people you've just met. It's causing you to double down on bad decisions, even when you know they're wrong. And it's convincing you that your tiny mistakes are being broadcast on a giant screen for everyone to see. These aren't random errors or signs of weakness. They are predictable bugs in your mental software, ancient code running on modern hardware. These flaws secretly control how you think, how you feel, and how you act. But what if you could become the programmer instead of just the user? What if you had the patch to fix these bugs? In this video, we are going to expose the 12 most powerful brain flaws that manipulate your daily life. But we're not stopping there. For every single flaw, I'm going to give you a simple, powerful antidote to counteract it. You're about to get the user manual for your own mind that you were never given. By the end of this video, you won't just understand why your brain misleads you. You'll know exactly how to fight back. That lazy contractor in your head is about to meet its new project manager, you. These mental shortcuts are known by psychologists as cognitive biases. They evolved for a simpler world, helping our ancestors make split-second decisions to survive. The problem is the world isn't simple anymore. An instinct that once saved you from a predator in the tall grass now makes you buy the wrong product online or lose an argument you should have won. Other videos might just point out these traps, leaving you feeling more paranoid than prepared. We're doing something different here. We won't just show you the traps, we're going to give you the map and the key to get out of them. We've structured these 12 brain flaws into 3 distinct categories to make them easy to understand. First, we'll tackle the social brain, the flaws that distort how you see other people. Next, we'll dive into the believing brain, the tricks that warp your sense of reality and truth. And finally, we'll expose the deciding brain, the biases that lead you into making terrible choices. And make sure you stick around until the end. Because after we've broken down all 12 flaws, I'm going to give you a simple 3-step mental framework you can use to override almost all of these traps in real time. It's a master key for your mind. All right, let's start with the tricks that mess with your social world. First up, number 1, the liking bias. This bias means we are far more likely to agree with, trust, and forgive people we find physically attractive or charismatic, regardless of their actual competence. Your brain essentially creates a halo around them, where their good looks spill over and make everything else about them seem better too. Imagine a new colleague joins your team who is charming, funny, and well-dressed. You instinctively find yourself trusting their opinions in meetings and excusing the fact they've missed their first 2 deadlines. Meanwhile, your less charismatic but highly effective colleague gets scrutinized for being 5 minutes late. That's the liking bias in action, and it promotes the popular over the proficient. The antidote is to consciously separate the person from the proposal. Ask yourself, would I still think this is a great idea if it came from someone I didn't like? Number 2 is a flaw that causes massive, unnecessary anxiety, the spotlight effect. This is your brain's tendency to massively overestimate how much other people are noticing your appearance or actions. You feel as if you have a giant spotlight on you, broadcasting your every mistake. In a video meeting, you begin speaking only to realize your mic is still off. For the next 10 minutes, you're convinced everyone is thinking about how awkward you are. The reality is they forgot it happened 3 seconds later because they were too busy worrying about their own things. You're worried about the coffee stain on your shirt, but everyone else is worried about the weird way they just said hello. The antidote is a liberating realization. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you think they are. Embrace this beautiful insignificance, and you'll find a new level of social freedom. Number 3 is the brain flaw that secretly poisons relationships, the fundamental attribution error. This is our default tendency to explain our own negative behaviors based on our situation, but explain others' negative behaviors based on their character. Essentially, I have bad days, but you are a bad person. When you cut someone off in traffic, it's because you were running late and didn't see them. When someone cuts you off, it's because they are a reckless, selfish maniac who has no regard for human life. Your brain grants you the benefit of the doubt, but assumes the worst in others. This happens constantly with friends, family, and coworkers. The antidote is to flip the script. When someone acts poorly, actively try to imagine a situational reason for their behavior, no matter how unlikely. This simple act of intellectual charity can short-circuit the bias before it takes hold. And fourth, for the social brain, we have groupthink. This is the desire for harmony or conformity within a group, which results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. Essentially, people stop thinking for themselves to avoid rocking the boat. Consider a team meeting where the boss proposes a new project idea. You can see several major flaws in the plan, but the first 2 people to speak praise it enthusiastically. Suddenly, voicing your concerns feels risky and confrontational. So you just nod along, and the team marches forward on a plan that everyone secretly knows is flawed. The antidote is to become the designated dissenter, even if it's only in your own mind. When everyone agrees, make it a mental habit to ask, what are we missing? Or what's the strongest argument against this? Now that we've seen how your brain skews your perception of others, let's look at how it distorts your own reality. Welcome to the flaws of the believing brain. Number 5 is one of the most powerful biases of all, the confirmation bias. Your brain isn't a scientist seeking truth, it's a lawyer building a case for what you already believe. This bias makes you actively seek out information that confirms your existing beliefs, while ignoring, discrediting, or forgetting information that challenges them. It doesn't feel like bias, it feels like you're just being reasonable and seeing things clearly. Think about your social media feed. The algorithm learns what you like and shows you more of it, creating a perfect echo chamber. Every scroll reinforces your worldview, making it feel like everyone agrees with you, and that any opposing view is fringe and insane. The antidote is to actively seek out intellectual friction. Follow 1 or 2 smart people you disagree with. Read articles from opposing viewpoints and genuinely try to understand their strongest argument. Sixth is a flaw that news channels exploit every single day, the availability heuristic. This is a mental shortcut where your brain judges the likelihood of an event by how easily examples come to mind. If it's vivid, recent, or emotionally charged, your brain assumes it's common. You see a news story about a local shark attack, and suddenly you're terrified of swimming at the beach, even though the statistical risk is practically 0. The vivid image of the shark is available to your mind, while the boring statistic about car crashes being far more dangerous is not. Your brain isn't doing math, it's doing memory. The antidote is to ask, what is the base rate? Before you react to a scary story, do a quick search for the actual data to ground your fear in reality, not just headlines. Number 7 is a paradox of competence known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. In short, incompetent people are often too incompetent to recognize their own incompetence, making them wildly overconfident. Conversely, genuinely skilled people are acutely aware of how much they don't know, which can make them seem less confident. You see this online all the time. The person who has read one article on a topic argues with absolute certainty against a leading expert in the field. The beginner's mind is empty, so it feels easy to fill, while the expert's mind is so full they can see all the empty spaces left. The antidote is a powerful reframe. Feeling like you know nothing isn't a sign of ignorance, it's the first sign of real intelligence. If you feel uncertain or full of doubt, it means you've likely climbed past the peak of Mount Stupid and are on the path to true mastery. And number 8 is the reason it's so hard to win an argument, the backfire effect. When you are presented with facts that contradict a deeply held belief, your brain doesn't calmly update its view. Instead, research suggests that the belief can actually become stronger as your brain defends itself against the attack. You present a friend with solid evidence against their favorite political conspiracy theory. Instead of changing their mind, they leave the conversation more convinced than ever, now believing you are part of the cover-up. Presenting facts to someone in this state is like throwing gasoline on a fire. The antidote is to not attack the belief directly. Instead, ask open-ended questions that encourage them to examine their own thinking process, like, what evidence could ever change your mind on this? We're halfway through, and you're already getting a masterclass in how your mind operates. If you're the kind of person who loves getting smarter about how the world works, make sure you subscribe. We go deep on topics like this every single week, giving you the tools to build a better mind. All right, now let's talk about the flaws that cost you time and money. It's time to audit the deciding brain. Number 9 is the trap of commitment, the sunk cost fallacy. This is where your brain makes you continue with a failing endeavor simply because you've already invested time, money, or effort into it. Your past investment, which is gone forever, irrationally dictates your future decisions. You're 2 years into a career path you now realize you hate, but you've already spent so much on the degree you feel you have to stick with it. Or you keep pouring money into a failing business project because you've already poured so much in. Quitting feels like admitting failure and wasting everything you've already spent. The antidote is a stark but powerful mantra. Don't set your future on fire just to keep your past warm. Judge every decision based on its future potential, not its past cost. Number 10 is a trick that retailers love, the anchoring effect. This is our tendency to rely heavily on the very first piece of information offered when making decisions. That first number acts as a mental anchor, and all subsequent judgments are made in relation to it. You see a watch originally priced at $2,000, now on sale for $500. Your brain anchors to the $2,000 price, so $500 feels like an incredible bargain. You might never have considered a $500 watch before, but next to the anchor, it seems perfectly reasonable. The first number sets the scale of the conversation, and it's often chosen by someone who wants to influence you. The antidote is to consciously reset the conversation by introducing your own anchor. Before you look at the price, decide for yourself what something is worth to you, or do your own research to find a more realistic starting point. Next, at number 11, is the anchoring effect's sneaky cousin, the decoy effect. This happens when your choice between two options is influenced by adding a third, asymmetrically dominated option, the decoy. Its sole purpose is to make one of the other options look better by comparison. Imagine a movie theater offering a small popcorn for $3 and a large for $7. You might choose the small one, but then they add a medium popcorn for $6.50. Suddenly, the $7 large popcorn seems like a fantastic deal because it's only 50 cents more than the medium. The medium option is a decoy, designed not to be sold, but to make you buy the large. The antidote is to evaluate each option on its own merits, not just in comparison to what's next to it. Ask yourself, do I actually need the large popcorn, or is my brain just enjoying the feeling of getting a deal? Finally, number 12 is the bias that makes you play it safe, loss aversion. Psychologically, the pain of losing something is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. Losing a $100 bill feels way worse than finding a $100 bill feels good. This makes us overly cautious and afraid to take risks, even when the potential upside is huge. It's why you might stick with a stable but unfulfilling job, instead of pursuing a risky but passionate business idea. The fear of losing your current security looms larger than the potential joy of a new success. The antidote is to reframe the decision by focusing on the potential for gain, not just the potential for loss. Ask not just what could I lose if this fails, but also what am I guaranteed to miss out on if I never even try? So now you know the 12 biggest bugs in your mental software. You can see how they operate in your social life, your beliefs, and your decisions. But just knowing isn't enough. How do we synthesize all these anecdotes into something you can use every day? I call it the clarity check, a 3-step mental override to reclaim control from your lazy contractor brain. Whenever you have to make an important decision or feel a strong, sudden emotion, run this simple check. Step 1 is to pause. Just take one deep breath. This creates a crucial gap between stimulus and response, preventing a knee-jerk reaction. Step 2 is to question the first feeling. Identify the first, most automatic emotion that comes to mind. Then ask which brain flaw might be driving this feeling. Is it loss aversion making me scared, or the liking bias making me agreeable? Step 3 is to consider the opposite. Actively try to argue for the reverse of your initial impulse. If you instinctively want to say yes, force yourself to build the strongest possible case for saying no. This breaks the grip of confirmation bias and reveals angles you would have otherwise missed. So pause, question the first feeling, and consider the opposite. This simple habit is your shield against the hidden forces in your own mind. It transforms you from a passive participant into the active architect of your own thoughts. At the beginning of this video, the idea that your brain was a lazy contractor might have felt unsettling. It can be unnerving to realize how many of your feelings and choices are driven by automatic, invisible scripts. But now that's no longer the whole story for you. You've seen the code. You understand the programming flaws, from the way you judge others to the way you make decisions. And most importantly, you have the antidotes. You possess the tools to spot the spotlight effect and shrug it off. You have the framework to escape the sunk cost fallacy. You know how to question your own certainty and resist the pull of confirmation bias. Awareness is the first step, but action is what creates change. Your brain will always look for the shortcut, but from now on, you'll be there to question if it's a path worth taking. You're not just at the mercy of its flaws anymore. You are the project manager. You are in control. Now that you know the tricks your own brain plays, what about the tricks that corporations and marketers use against you every day? They've been studying your brain flaws for decades, and we expose their entire playbook in the video on screen. Click the video on screen now to continue upgrading your mental defenses. If this video gave you an aha moment, please give it a like to help others find it. And comment below with the brain flaw you see in yourself the most. Sharing it is the first step to owning it. Thanks for watching.